My name is Donna Zephrine. I was born in Harlem. My family lived in the Parkchester, the Bronx for a little while, but most of my life I grew up in Bayshore, Long Island. I went to the Brentwood School District from kindergarten to 12th grade. My last 4 years, I joined the Brentwood Air Force ROTC program. I went to SUNY Farmingdale. For my associates, I joined the Army Reserve, and then after I graduated in May of 1997, I went right into basic training. I did my basic training at Fort Jackson, South Carolina. The most challenging thing, I believe, was going to the gas chamber, because they prepare you to use your mop gear, put on your probe mask, but once you go in the gas chamber, you have to seal your gas mask on, and then after they want you to take your mask off. But everybody in that section, they do it in groups. Everyone in that section, after when they go in the gas chamber, they have to remove the gas mask. They put the tear gas in. They want each soldier to say their name, rank, and social security number. So they want to see how you react in tear gas in the chamber. Well, I did like 7 years reserve in New York.
Okay.
I was stationed, my first reserve unit was in Gossels Avenue, right by St. John's University. So when 9/11 occurred, I was in the reserves, and they had mobilized us for 30 days to stay at the reserve unit. The time when I was assigned to a reserve unit, I was in the MP company. So half the company in my unit worked for the NYPD. So they had taken the photos. And then my reserve commander gave me a conditional release to go on active duty. Within 6 months, I was deployed to Iraq. I wasn't expecting it so soon. So it was during the initial invasion in Iraq. My basic job in the military was a 63 Bravo lightweight vehicle mechanic. At that time, it was like a 22-day assault into Baghdad. So we didn't know what we were walking into. At first, the first couple of weeks, we either had to live in our Humvees, or either in the tanker trailers, in the cab, or on top of the tanker trailers, or even open the cot on the side by our vehicles. I know at one point, we hadn't get a chance to change for a while, so we saw an abandoned bus. And at first, we were kind of fearful going in there, because we weren't sure if it was be a bomb, but they had someone check it out. And I remember in our unit, the first sergeant or company commander had told us that they were going to rotate it where they had the males take to change in there, in the abandoned bus, and then after the females. I was kind of scared to go in there still. Well, after a while when we got set up, we had to build our tents from scratch. They had prepared us before. We had to use connexes as far as putting plywood, using the toilet seat covers, using the 55-gallon drums, and cutting it in half to use that as the toilet. It took time to build the camp showers. My supply sergeant, out of over 150 soldiers, he had about 10 camp showers, so we had to rotate it for every soldier when they had to take a turn to take a shower. That was kind of frustrating because it took a while. And after a time, I had to contact my mom to send me my own personal camp shower. But she sent me a nice one, the Coleman with the batteries, and you have the 5K jug, and it was nice. It was like a regular, it felt like a regular shower back home. This is the division, 3rd Infantry Division. So there's one in Fort Benning, Fort Stewart, and Hunter Army Airfield. I was in Hunter Army Airfield, and my battalion was the 260th Quartermaster. During the beginning of the war, we didn't have any money as far as going to the PX. So what they used, this is different sites of Iraq during the war, pictures and stuff. So as you can see, it shows you the cents, like 25 cents, 10 cents. I think that's the highest one. And then in the back of it, it shows you the actual value of it. Yeah. And this is something else I had gotten as a souvenir. Operation Iraqi Freedom gives you the different parts in Iraq, where it's Baghdad is right here, that's where we were at. And then going up further, Mosul, and where Saddam Hussein is from, his hometown's Tikrit. Then you see Syria, Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. And the important thing when we were in Iraq, they gave us like a dictionary translator, as well as a CD that we had to learn like basic words and stuff. We had some interaction with the locals. We were told to try to keep our distance because you didn't know if some of them were like suicide bombers. So I know at times when we stopped after driving, some of them would come out of nowhere. But I noticed with some of them, when they came up to us, they spoke English pretty well. And I know when we were there, during the beginning, they wanted stuff exchanged for like Iraqi money. Like I know there was one soldier in my unit, he actually gave a teenager, in exchange for the Iraqi money with Saddam Hussein, he gave him a CD player. Or we would give them MREs or water, and they would give us the Iraqi money. I was interested in seeing the Saddam Hussein money, so I did that as well. It was 2 people in my unit who got killed in Iraq. But in the division, my division was the highest who died, fatalities. That was during the initial invasion. So that was hard. When I came back, I registered through the Northport VA hospital, and then I also registered through the vet center in Babylon. So I used to go for counseling. Yeah, I used to do stuff like recreational stuff within the Northport VA, because they had like events for veterans, like cycling, kayaking, swimming. But it was just within the VA. I never did anything outside. The first veteran organization outside of the VA was the Wounded Warrior Project.
Hello, everybody. My name is Donna Zephrine, and I'm currently attending the school of social work. And joining the Wounded Warrior Project, it had changed my life drastically. I participated in the Soldier Ride, the New York City Soldier Ride. And the New York Soldier Ride consisted at first in Long Island, where I met approximately 50 veterans from England, United Kingdom, and across the United States.
When I did the Soldier Ride, that same year I had participated in another organization called T.E.A.M Sports, Faces of America. And I did that bike ride in April 2014. It was like a 110-mile bike ride from Washington, D.C. to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Last but not least, Donna Zephrine.
Yeah, I graduated from Columbia University School of Social Work last May 2017. It was quite challenging because when I was going to school for social work, my advisor had recommended that I don't work full-time. But I had to work in order to support myself. Even though I used the GI Bill, it was still not enough to live and stuff. So working full-time, working a graveyard shift for the New York State Office of Mental Health, doing 21 hours a week at field placement, and on top of academic studies.
Talk about your rings.
Oh,
yeah.
This is my college ring.
Okay.
When I went to SUNY Westbury with my bachelor's degree. The key symbolizes honor student. This one is a honor society ring from a 2-year school. When I was going to SUNY Farmingdale's, the Phi Theta Kappa. And this one is Columbia University ring, the crown. And I actually always wear my keepsake bracelet of Sergeant Hart. That was my squad leader who got killed in Iraq. And then the other soldier that got killed in Iraq was Specialist Carlott. And I also do golf, and so this is the organization I belong to.
I was going to ask it, yeah.
The Salute to Military Golf Association. This was a popular item, the Operation Iraqi Freedom license plate. Mm-hmm. So it tells you when I was there, 2003. And this is the Iraqi money here with Saddam's face, the different dollar notes. I know one of the popular things that during Iraq, during the initial invasion, was the most wanted playing cards of the 55 people under this regime. That's him, Saddam Hussein. But he had 2 sons who had died during the first deployment. This here is an actual welcome home cane I got from a person who's very active and involved with the veterans. He actually hand carved this cane, handmade, and it has my unit, 416. These are all the medals, decorations I got. The organizations I'm involved in a lot of organizations, but he could only fit 3. So I told him which ones I would like. So I told him to put World Team Sports, The Exceptional Athlete Matters, Team Red, White, and Blue, and the Wounded Warrior Project. And then my name, that. And then the medals here, yes.
Wow.
And then right in the back it says Welcome Home. And then these here are during the initial invasion of the war. They made it was a collector's item. And it tells you, see, this is it here. That's Saddam Hussein, and that's his 2 sons. And that's the same card that I showed you with the 55 most wanted people. And there's one thing that I think a lot of people are not aware of, I like to share. I know during the initial invasion, they had called it Welcome to Bush International Airport, but it was just for only a period of time that I remember. And when I was in Iraq, during my second deployment, I went through the PX, and they had an organization that does embroidery, and it tells you my unit name, 416 Transportation Company, and we used a motto for my platoon was called Road Dogs Make It Happen, We Ready. It has my name, the infantry patch, the operation with the eagle on it, we will not fail. That we were a transportation company, Hole and Fuel. It was the actual soldier in my unit who actually did the drawing of this bull, and he drew the tanker trailer with the bull on top of it with the claws, which I thought was cute. This was sort my eye when I bought it in a PX, and not knowing like a decade later I'll be writing poetry and be a writer. One of my friends had told me, you see, when you do writing, you don't know where that pencil will take you. So this right here is an article that was done when I had participated in Veterans Testimony Project and the librarian, and they did a story on that on Newsday.
In order to make phone calls, you had to call a military installation defense switch network called the DSN. You could call 24 hours a day and a representative was there. You told the switchboard operator both where you were calling from and the number of your destination that you were calling. He would dial it up for you, and you would be connected to speak to your family or friends. The line to wait to make a phone call sometimes took over an hour. When you had to make a phone call at certain times, it would be difficult to go because you needed to go with a buddy to prevent sexual attacks from male soldiers. I remember in Kuwait, there were signs that females had to be careful because a male would have his gas mask on and start to attack the females. The first thing that went through my mind was how a soldier can be doing this type of act to their fellow soldiers. How can a soldier attack another soldier preparing for war? I do not know if these soldiers wanted to be caught and brought up on charges so they did not have to go to war. You never know what is going through someone's head. A few of the female buddy soldiers felt the same way, but there was no real time to inquire about that topic. We were all in a foreign land, which brought us closer as a group, became family, followed orders, protecting your neighbor no matter what their race. One of my colleagues was an ex-KKK member, but at war, none of that ever mattered. He had my back and I had his. It was us against them. War can also open your eyes to what is important. He was remorseful for his past actions. War made him realize the value of life. Only in war could he imagine being around people of color, having to protect them and work with them. War brought us together.
These are my various anthologies that I had gotten publishing. And then I participated in Tough Mudder last year. And this is another organization called T.E.A.M Sports. They help wounded warriors as far as reintegration. They do a lot of cycling events for therapeutic, for riding for recovery, but they also help a population with intellectual disabilities. And then this is an article what Wounded Warrior Project did on me, because I play sled hockey. The sled hockey team is wonderful. The team, the athletes as well as the coaches. And then this is something, it says, "Busted my ass to save yours." Has these people here, and then the camel in the back. Operation Rocket Freedom, 2003. That's me there.
That's you there.
Mm-hmm. That's the same artist in my unit. He drew that at the MWR
right,
tent.
like we saw, yeah. So what was this, the
Heroes
Heroes Field, yeah.
They named it for all the fallen heroes who got killed in Iraq. Heroes Field, all gave some gave all. And that's Sergeant Hart, because he was a mechanic, so you see the wrench, and I don't know if you can make it closer. I know the latest project I worked on was last one. It's called the Patton's Veterans Project. And the person who runs that, his name is Ben Patton. And he's the grandson and son of George Patton IV and George Patton Jr. He didn't follow in his grandfather and father's footsteps, but he's giving back to helping veterans as far as doing film workshops. He does film workshops as far as with veterans who are coping with their PTSD. It could be any topic. I did mine with Welcome Home with the other 4 veterans, and that was a nice event. Actually, in the film, I had played a chaplain. Well, I'm trying to gear up to pass, trying to study to pass my boards. That's my goal. But I don't know what the future has in store for me. I'm hoping that I'll give back to help other veterans or people who are in need. I would tell them, to seek the help that's out there, utilize the resources through the Veterans Affairs Hospital, the Vet Center. There's various organizations like the Wounded Warrior Project, Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans Organization, T.E.A.M Sports, Team Red, White, and Blue. That's another organization that's very big in helping veterans. Those are organizations that would help you. But also, if you need to seek professional help, I know they have the Veterans Crisis Hotline. I know the suicide rate is high, so, I would seek help speaking to someone. Or even reaching out to another veteran, that might be helpful,